In this video, you're going to learn 6 levels of fingerstyle guitar with the classic tune Aura, also known as Love Me Tender. Here's a little taste of what's to come. Pretty cool, right? But we're not going to start there. We're going to peel things back and start at the very beginning, gradually building our way through 6 levels of fingerstyle guitar with the tune Aura. Now, most people believe chord melody playing is an advanced way to play guitar, and while it can be, even the simplest of arrangements can sound beautiful. And wait until you hear the trick at level 5 that will make any melody sound absolutely stunning. So be sure to stick around and let me know in the comments what level you can make it to. I'm Simon Candy. I've been teaching guitar for over 30 years, and if you want more lessons like this one, be sure to hit subscribe. All right, let's get to it. So level 1 is adding root notes underneath the melody for some very simple but very effective accompaniment. Okay, so we're going to listen to our tune using this approach first, then we'll come back and break it down. So I'm just going to deal with the first 4 bars here, because then you'll be able to carry it through the tune. Nothing really changes after the first 4 bars as far as the concept being applied here. Okay, so we've got the melody just being played in the open position. Now the first chord is C, so if I just play the C note, I can hold the chord, and it would be a good habit to hold the chord, but you don't even need to hold the chord here. Just the root note is enough for this approach. So we will go. So that's the first bar. There's a C chord in the first bar, so I've got the C root note, and then I'm playing the melody on top. I've got to make sure my third finger stays down because I want to sustain that root note across the full bar so that we get the nice resonance of that C as we play the melody. In the second bar, it's the same deal. We go to a D7 chord, is the chord in the harmony, and we've got the melody. So I'm just playing that out against the drone of the open D string, the root note of the D7 chord. And of course the melody. Then we go to G, so all I need is my third finger on the 3rd fret of string 6, and I can play the melody in that bar and resolve to C in the final bar. Okay, so for the G, and a lot of the time when we play chord melody stuff, a G chord is really all we need is this G note, and if we were playing a chord here, we'd have open strings for the G to make a really big sound, and this frees up fingers to play melody. So a lot of the time, even though we're not playing a chord just yet, you do fret a G like this with a lot of this style of playing. So that's what we're doing here, and we are playing the melody, and then we resolve to C. So we get So level 2 is all about harmony, adding chords to our arrangements. So previously we had the bass note, or the root note, which was the bass, and we had the melody. In between, we want to add some texture by bringing in some harmony. So that is what this arrangement is going to be all about. So have a listen to it with this concept applied. Okay, so as you could hear there, we're filling out the sound a little bit more now. And if you played the previous arrangement with chords formed, you don't have to do anything different with your fretting hand. If you just played the root note, now we want to form the full chord because we want to get a fuller sound with the chord, as you can hear there, into the D and the G. Okay, we'll just look at the first 4 bars here because again, the same concept is then carried out through the rest of the tune as you just heard. So I'm forming the C chord, and what we've got to be careful of here is the melody. That's the most important part when we're playing this style. So the melody note is a G. So when I strum or pluck C on the first beat of the bar, I don't want to go beyond that G note. That's the melody. If I go beyond it, I now change the melody to that note or this note. Okay, the highest note in the chord needs to be the melody most of the time. Always exceptions, but most of the time. So that's what we're doing here. And then we play the rest of the melody over the C, then our D. Again, we only want to pluck up to and including the D note on string 2 here for the same reasons. And then we go to G, and we also pluck up to the melody note, which is a C. So that kind of makes it momentarily a suspended chord. You don't need to know that. You just know there's a C note to be played with your G chord here. And then we resolve to the C. So much more texture with this approach as opposed to the thinner sound of the root notes. Once more with the Lexo we just had a look at now. C chord, then D, and the G, and to the C. Really nice sound adding in the harmony. So level 3 is arpeggiation, and this is when you break the notes up. Instead of playing them all together on the chord, we arpeggiate. Basically play them one after the other, and this brings a really beautiful sound to your playing. And if you've got levels 1 and 2 under your belt, level 3 becomes much simpler to do because all your fretting hand movements are the same. It's just breaking up the chord with your picking hand that is what's happening here. So let's listen to the arrangement with the arpeggiation for level 3 of Orally. So there you have it, arpeggios, a really beautiful sound and does bring your finger picking to life when we break up the chords. So let's just break down the first 4 bars to get a handle on this particular approach. So on the C chord in bar 1, we're going like this. Okay, so instead of just going where you got all the melody on the beat, on the off beats I'm playing other chord tones to give us that sound that arpeggios provides. So again, and there's lots of different ways that you could do that, different chord tones. There's not a set pattern as such here. Again, it comes back to the melody. We're going to make sure the melody is still there and we don't get the melody lost in the arpeggios. So that's why you want to have levels 1 and 2 down quite well first. In the second bar, okay, similar thing. Just breaking up the chord. We don't have to pick out everything for the full bar. I'm just playing on the first half of the bar there. 1, 2, 3. Let it ring out over 4, then we go to G, and we come back to C. And there's no melody on C except for the first note, but I am just picking it out a little bit, which you could do or you could not do, lots of variants that you can do with arpeggios here. So again from the G, again, chord tones, and you can see how you just a full G chord with one finger, and then these fingers are free play the melody and then on the C. So let me just play the first 4 bars together there with the arpeggiation. If you're enjoying this style of playing, then you'll love my beginner fingerpicking guitar course. We start at the very beginning, go through the basics and apply them to tunes just like the one that we're doing in today's video. So if you like the sound of that, you can check the course out. There's a link in the description below. Level 4 is where we bring in Travis picking. This is where we alternate the bass on the beat while playing the melody of the tune. It's the heartbeat of many, many fingerstyle tunes. So let's have a listen to Orally with Travis picking. Okay, so I'm sure you could hear a lot more groove being applied to our arrangement there of Orally. So let's just break down the first 4 bars, because again, in the first 4 bars is the concept that you can carry through the tune. Travis picking is all about alternating bass, and there's only a handful of patterns that the thumb will do. But what's important is it's always on the beat, always with Travis picking. So if we just isolate the first 4 bars with the bass, on C I'm playing what we call a 5-4-6-4 bass on the C chord. I could also play just a 5-4 bass, but I've decided to go with a little more movement, 5-4-6-4. And the numbers I'm saying is referring to the strings I'm on at the time. The 5th string, the 4th, then my 3rd finger comes down onto the G note. When I hit the 6th string, then back to the 4th, and then if I was continuing on C, I'd come back to that C note, and away we go. The D7 chord is a little bit different. I'm going for a 6-4 bass. So in order to get that, I've got to put the F sharp in the bass of this chord. So it makes it a D7/F sharp. And that enables me to get a 6-4 bass on the beat. If I didn't do that, then I'd be having to play a 4-3. And it gets a little bit close to the melody there. It kind of crosses over and doesn't quite work as well. So I play a 6-4 bass, which leads beautifully into the root of the G chord, which is next, where I also play a 6-4 bass. And then back to C, 5-4-6-4. So the bass all together, C chord, D, G, and back to C. Okay, then we have the melody, and with Travis picking, to put the melody with the bass is challenging, but the thing that you want to do first is keep everything as straight as you can. Try and play on the beat only, so you're not having to deal with notes in between bass notes straight up. So that'd sound like this. Right, with the first part of our melody there. So it's just on the beat, 2, 3, 4, melody with the bass. But then I can syncopate it a little bit and make it a little bit more interesting rhythmically, and it might sound like this. Okay, so you could hear some of those notes were in between the bass notes, which of course then would be on off beats because the bass is always on the on beat. And that's what's happening with Travis picking. It's syncopated melodies on top of a steady alternating bass. So when we carry that through to the next bar, we get the G, a little bit of syncopation there on the last sort of part of the bar, and then just filling out C. One last thing I'll mention with Travis picking is typically you'll mute the bass. Now you can use a thumb pick as well. I don't have a thumb pick here today, but to get a real traditional Travis picking sound, you can do that, but you don't have to do it. You're still Travis picking without the thumb pick, but a muted bass is good because it separates the melody from the backing. So when I do that with a muted bass, right, you can hear that melody much more separated from the bass. So that's ideal when you're putting melody with the Travis picking pattern. And that's exactly what we've done, level 4 of Orally. If you like Travis picking, then I've got plenty of other videos on the style on my channel. I'll leave a link to one of them in the description below. Level 5 is all about open strings and natural harmonics and the different timbres we can get with notes on the guitar. We're only actually going to play the melody here, no chords, but it sounds so full and complete complete because of these techniques we're going to apply, it works really, really well. So let's have a listen to level 5 of Orally. Okay, so you could hear how beautiful that melody can sound on its own. And as I said, we're just adding in open strings, which are kind of already there, but the difference is the fretted notes that are being played down in the open position, I've now moved up to higher positions, so they're on different strings, and we get the ringing through of the open string against the fretted note, as well as the different timbres of playing the same note on different strings at different times, and of course the harmonics. So let's break this down with the first 4 bars. That'll give you an idea of what's being done to our melody here. So instead of playing down here, I take those notes, the fretted notes, and I move them up and I go. So you've not just got that open string ringing through, you've got the C note being played in 2 different positions in that little phrase. It's subtle, but it makes a difference. So you'll notice that I'm not playing any 2 consecutive notes on the same string by moving the melody like this. I'm on the 3rd string, 4th, 2nd, 3rd, okay? And then instead of here playing these notes, these exist as harmonics at the 12th fret. So we can get that beautiful chimey sound as opposed to just playing them as ordinary fretted notes. And they're open string harmonics, so they'll ring through when you take your hands away, where we're moving the melody up, and then we come down and we do the same sort of thing with the open strings and fretted notes. Again, no 2 consecutive notes on the same string. C, B, then I get the A, open B again, and then C in a different position to get that shift in timbre. Okay, so let's hear that all together. Just the first 4 bars, and then you did hear how we continue to take those concepts and apply it to level 5 of Orally. But here it is across the first 4 bars. Level 6 is walking bass line. So a walking bass line is where you basically use a combination of scale tones, arpeggios, so chord tones, and chromaticism to create a smooth walking bass line, or a smooth bass line that connects the chords of the progression together, and it gives you this forward momentum feel, like you're not playing on repeated patterns but just taking a little bit of a walk through the harmony of a progression. So let's hear how it sounds orally at level 6 with a walking bass line. So there you have it, pretty cool sound, walking bass lines. They're associated a lot with jazz, you hear them in jazz all the time, but they can be applied to any style of music and often are. Now, one thing you might have noticed that was different with this particular arrangement was that I played the melody an octave higher. So instead of playing it down here, right, where we've been the whole time, I moved it up here. Okay, and the reason for that was to create greater distance between the walking bass line and the melody, because when I was arranging this and I was playing the melody down here, it was very close within the range of the walking bass, and it was a little harder to separate the two, and it just works out much better if we put the melody up an octave, and therefore we're playing walking bass lines around the 7th and 8th positions, more or less, on the fretboard. So let's just break down the first 4 bars just to see what is happening here. As I said, the melody's all the way up here on the top 2 strings, up an octave. Okay, so that's the melody. We may move it around a little bit to suit our arrangement, and we'll see that in a moment, but that's the melody and that is the octave we're playing it in. And then we're playing the walking bass. So in this particular part of the tune, the opening part, we're playing an arpeggio. We're arpeggiating the C chord that is happening. C, E, G, C. So just going up and down. The first note of the chord, the 3rd, the 5th, and then to the D, we do the same thing. And then when we get to G, we walk it down the scale back to C, and then we've got the same arpeggio on C again. So we've got a mix in this particular part of the tune with arpeggios and scale-like motion. So arpeggio on C, and then arpeggio again on D, outlining the D, walking down the scale over G, and back to C. So that's one of many ways I could just walk a bass line through those particular chords there at the opening of our tune. If you do like the walking bass lines, I've got other videos that go into much more depth with it. I'll leave a link to one of them in the description below. Now, when we put this together with the melody, I arranged the same line I just played you, but I put some of the notes in different positions to suit the arrangement and the context in which I'm playing, just to make things easier, basically, and ultimately to sound better. So I start on this C, and I'm sort of holding like a G major shape here, just to kind of get most of the melody prepared under my fingers. It's a C chord here. If we think of the G moved up, it becomes a C, and we are playing the melody with our walking bass. But instead of playing the G over here, which is a bit out of position, I use the open G. That's the difference there. And when I go to D, instead of playing the D as a fretted note, I play it as an open note. It sounds better, is easier to do. And notice I want to sustain my melody as much as I can. I don't want to kill the melody notes while I'm playing my walking bass. So the way you play your notes and the way you fret them becomes very important. So again, the C and the D. And then we get our walk down back to the C. Okay, notice there, so as we did the walk down, there's a harmonic. Instead of going to the B here, I hit a harmonic, the B on the 2nd string, 12th fret harmonic, and that rings out as I go down to my C chord that follows. So again on that G, walking down, back to the C. Okay, beautiful, beautiful sound, and I arranged it in a way that made it easiest to fret and to get the best, most sustained sound, which is what you really want, generally speaking. So let's just hear that together for the first 4 bars with our walking bass. So there you have it, 6 levels of fingerstyle guitar with our tune Aura Lee, also known as Love Me Tender. So at level 1, we just got started with root notes and saw how much of a full arrangement that can create. We added texture at level 2 by adding in harmony, plucking the chord. Level 3, things started to flow a little bit more with our arpeggios and breaking up the chord for a very cool sound. We brought the groove in at level 4 with Travis picking, alternating the bass on the beat with the melody on top. Level 5 was treating the melody with harmonics and open strings for a very beautiful sound. Even without any chords, it's got a very full sound with those approaches. And finally, level 6 was the walking bass, again bringing groove to our tune. The important thing to realize here is that any one of those levels is an arrangement in and of itself. It works on its own. But the idea would be to sort of connect any 2 or more of them together and arrange them in a way that creates a fuller piece, if you like. And there's lots of ways that you could do that with the approaches that we've taken today. But the big question is, what level did you make it to? I would love to know, so drop it in the comments below. If you like this video and you want to improve your fingerpicking skills without the frustration, then my Ultimate Beginner Fingerpicking Guitar course provides you with a step-by-step pathway to get you there. It takes you from the absolute basics through to more advanced fingerpicking skills with carefully thought out, structured lessons made up of well-known musical pieces, as well as focused and effective drills and exercises. You get videos, PDFs, and MP3s in every lesson, giving you everything you need to build rock-solid fingerpicking technique so you can play the songs you love. If you're ready to stop spinning your wheels and finally fingerpick guitar the way you've always dreamed, then click the link in the description below and check out the Ultimate Beginner Fingerpicking Guitar course today. If you like this lesson, then hit subscribe and ring the bell so you won't miss the next one. And if you want to go further with this style of playing, then be sure to check out the video on your screen right now where I take you through 3 simple steps for creating a fingerstyle arrangement of any song on guitar. I'm Simon Candy, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.